Life was simple, peaceful, and filled with love. I lived with my family, sharing every joy and every sorrow. We weren't wealthy, but we had each other, and that felt like the greatest treasure of all. My sister-in-law, Sana, was always there, a constant presence in our lives. She'd help my mother in the kitchen, play with the kids, and always had a kind word for everyone. She seemed like the perfect addition to our family, always smiling, always supportive. But even then, there was something in her smile I couldn't quite trust. A flicker in her eyes that vanished as quickly as it appeared. I told myself I was imagining things, being too suspicious. I wanted to believe in the harmony of our family. But everything changed the day my father passed away and I inherited his property. It wasn't a mansion or a vast estate, but it was our family home, a place filled with memories, and it was meant to secure our future. Little did I know, it would become the very thing that threatened to tear us apart. The shift was subtle at first, almost unnoticeable. After the inheritance was settled, small things began to change. A little bit of cash I'd left on the dresser would go missing. I'd blame my own forgetfulness. Important documents I'd organized would be slightly out of place. I'd think I must have been tired when I put them away. And Santa was always around, her questions becoming more frequent, more pointed, always cloaked in a veil of casual concern. "Are you sure you can manage all this paperwork alone?" she'd ask, her smile unwavering. It must be so overwhelming. At family gatherings, she would subtly undermine me. If I suggested a plan for the property, she'd gently propose an alternative, making my idea sound foolish or naive. She praised my husband for his practicality, hinting that I was too emotional to handle financial matters. At first, I brushed it off. I told myself she was just trying to help, that I was being overly sensitive in my grief. But the feeling of unease grew stronger every day. It was a cold knot in my stomach that tightened whenever she was near. The small, explainable incidents started to form a pattern, a quiet, creeping suspicion that I couldn't ignore any longer. I decided it was time to uncover the truth. The constant feeling of being watched, of being managed, was suffocating. I couldn't live in a house filled with doubt. So my investigation began. I started with the small things, the missing cash, the misplaced items. Then I moved to the paperwork. Every receipt, every bank statement, every single document related to the inheritance. I examined them all with a magnifying glass. I spent late nights hunched over my desk, cross-referencing dates and figures. That's when I found it. Small transactions, just a few dollars here and there, being transferred from my account to an unknown one. They were so small, designed to go unnoticed. My heart pounded in my chest. Who would do this? I went back further, digging into online banking records, phone logs, anything I could find. The more I looked, the clearer the picture became. The evidence all pointed in one gut-wrenching direction. The unknown account was linked to a prepaid card, but I found an online purchase confirmation sent to an email address I recognized. It was Sana's. The truth was closer than I ever imagined, and it was absolutely shocking. The woman who called me sister, who ate at my table, was slowly bleeding me dry. But I needed undeniable proof, something no one could dispute. The thought of confronting her without it made me sick. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I installed a small, hidden camera in the study where I kept all the important files. I felt like a spy in my own home, my hands shaking as I set it up. I just had to know for sure. I waited. For 2 days, nothing happened. I started to think maybe I was wrong, that I was becoming paranoid. Then, on the third afternoon, the camera captured it. The footage showed Sana letting herself into the study when she thought no one was home. She moved with a quiet confidence, going straight to my desk. She pulled out the property deeds and a folder of my financial statements. My blood ran cold as I watched her take photos of every page with her phone. There was no hesitation, no guilt in her movements, just cold, calculated theft. Watching the playback felt like a dagger to the heart. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a deliberate, long-term betrayal. The woman on the screen was a stranger, a predator hiding behind a familiar smiling mask. The evidence was irrefutable. Now, the hardest part was yet to come, showing everyone the truth. I called a family meeting. I couldn't let this continue, not for another day. I asked everyone to gather in the living room, including Santa and my husband. The atmosphere was tense. Sana looked at me with her usual wide-eyed innocence, asking if everything was okay. My hands trembled as I connected my laptop to the television. I took a deep breath and simply said, "I have something you all need to see." I played the video. The room fell into a dead silence. The only sound was the faint audio from the recording. I watched their faces as the truth unfolded on the screen. My husband's confusion turned to shock, then to anger. My mother-in-law covered her mouth, her eyes filled with disbelief, and Sana, her mask finally shattered. Her face went pale, her smile vanishing, replaced by a cornered look of pure panic. When the video ended, no one spoke. The silence was deafening. I then showed them the bank statements, the trail of small transfers, the online purchases. The proof was overwhelming. Sana started to cry, trying to make excuses, but the lies fell apart. Finally, I looked at her, not with anger, but with a deep, profound sadness. "Trust is precious," I said, my voice steady. "And when it's broken, it leaves scars that no inheritance can heal. Betrayal often comes from the people closest to us. But facing the truth, no matter how painful, is the first step to reclaiming your peace." In the end, the house was just a building. My real inheritance was learning who to trust. And that's a lesson worth more than any property. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe for more stories.